next guest was the lead attorney for the Recording Industry Association of America, the RIAA, during their lawsuits against Napster, Aimster, Morpheus, Grokster, and Kazaa. Sounds like the five dwarfs, doesn't it? Russ Frackman is a partner at Los Angeles law firm Mitchell, Silberberg, and Canup. He joins us now via satellite from Los Angeles. Russ, good to have you. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Leo. They're hardly dwarfs, though.
Well, Napster's been cut down to size. I should tell you right up front that I'm very pro file sharing here, and we talk a lot about Napster and now Kazaa and Morpheus on the show. And actually, one of the reasons we wanted to have you on is I don't think we've really ever had anybody on to represent the music industry's point of view. So are you willing to do that?
Absolutely.
Even though you're a paid attorney, and obviously as an advocate you represent your clients, we're going to ask you to represent them now on the show. Let's start with Napster. Napster was a great success. They're gone. Is that what you had hoped for?
No, actually not. What we had hoped for, Leo, was that Napster and other peer-to-peer services would become legitimate, non-infringing services. From the very beginning, our position was that it was not a technology issue, it was a business model issue. And certainly there are legitimate models and uses for peer-to-peer technology. Just so happened Napster was not one of them.
Right. You made it difficult for them to succeed. Some would say so difficult that they couldn't possibly succeed. Things like verifying that all the files that are being traded are legitimate copies. Do you believe that it would have been technically? What happened? Why didn't they manage to turn it around?
Well, I think Napster's the only one who can tell you that. I think at bottom, the reason they were not able to turn it around is that they were conceived as a business that would grow and as they said, be monetized, derive revenue because of infringement. And I think that was the problem.
Well, everybody understands why the record industries would have to and want to fight infringement. I'm interested to hear you say that your goal was not to put the infringers out of business, but to find a way to work with them. What would be your, now there's still plenty of other peer-to-peer file sharing services out there. Kazaa is huge. In fact, it's bigger now than Napster ever was, is my understanding.
Apparently so.
So what would you, let's use Kazaa, and I know you're going after Kazaa. What would you like Kazaa to do to make the record industry happen?
Well, Leo, I'm not a technology expert, but I do know this. There are ways by which peer-to-peer systems can operate and permit the sharing, if you will, of authorized content, and at the same time prohibit or block or filter the copying and distribution of unauthorized content. I happened to see the other day Janice Ian on your show. And in many ways, I agree with a lot of what she said. I think it is perfectly appropriate for her, and I happen to be a big fan of hers, I think it's perfectly appropriate for her to permit her music to be shared or copied or distributed freely over Napster, Aimster, Kazaa, or her own website. At the same time, I think she agreed with our position that those owners and creators of music and other intellectual property ought to be free to prohibit the copying and distribution of their music if they want to. And I think Napster started to develop, albeit very late in the game, a method for operating in that manner. I think the technology has advanced significantly since the Napster days, and I think it's available out there for Kazaa, Morpheus, or anyone else who chooses to use it.
You think they just don't want to?
I think they just don't want to, exactly. Yeah. I think the problem at this point, as the court said in the Aimster litigation very recently, is that the whole reason for being for the Aimster service was to transfer, copy, distribute copyrighted material. The judge in the Napster case put it a little more poetically and called infringing content to be the jewel in the crown of the Napster system.
We actually have a tape of Janice Ian on the show. Let's just roll it. This is what she said. She said it's a losing battle. Let's take a look.
The bottom line is that you're not going to be able to stop it completely. So why hasn't the music industry, instead of spending $50 million a year lobbying and putting people in jail or threatening to, gotten together and made one big website where For instance, all of the out-of-print music could be offered at $0.25 a download.
Absolutely.
For some reasonable fee.
Yeah.
Instead of screaming about this and trying to stop it. And what they're doing now is a multi-tiered legal approach. They know they're going to lose.
Are you going to lose?
No, I don't think we're going to lose, but let me comment a little bit further on that. First, let me say no one's trying to put anyone in jail. But aside from that, I do agree that litigation is not going to be the ultimate solution to the piracy problem. I started my career 30 years ago suing people who made pirated 8-track tapes in their garages, and over the course of the next 30 years proceeded to cassette tapes, DATs, CDs, and now the Internet. Litigation, and I'd be the first to agree, is not the final answer to the problem. But what litigation will do, I think, and what the Napster case did do, is to educate, to let the public know that there are some standards and parameters, whether you call them legal standards or moral, ethical standards, to ultimately take some of the profit out of infringement and to put some speed bumps in the road. But I think at the end of the day, the content community, the Internet community need to sit down and resolve those issues in a way, if at all possible, outside of litigation. And I should say there were months of negotiations, I was not involved with them, between Napster and our clients, the recording industry, before the lawsuit was ever filed.
Well, I guess you're not the demon I thought you were. That's all I can say, Russ. I think we all agree. Consumers want the ability to download music. They want the convenience that things like Napster provided us, but I don't think anybody wants to put music out of business, or musicians out of business, or artists out of business. They deserve compensation for their work. So it's really a question of finding a way to give consumers what they want while supporting artists in their endeavors.
I think that's absolutely right, Leo.
Russ, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
It's been great talking to you. Of course, Russ Frackman is lead attorney for the Recording Industry Association of America during their lawsuits against Napster, Aimster, Morpheus, Grokster, and Kazaa. We got to find a name for those 5. He's with Mitchell, Silverberg, and Canup. If you want to know more or talk more about this issue, there are many things still to be said. You could be part of the conversation at thescreensavers.com. Thank you, Russ. I appreciate it.